everybody out there, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, and beyond. I am Joy Sanchez, aka Jay the God is ClapBack Queen. Always here every Monday and Wednesday with the only show on the internet that is trying to preserve the culture that's being built. ClapBack. So ClapBack Queens and Kings is all about what I call ClapBack culture, which is like modern day fringe counterculture. You know, all the folks that have been out here for years upon years, some of us for decades, going on 2 decades, that have been making art by our own rules, making life by our own rules, and kind of changing the game on the way. And now we, 2020 is almost at an end. I'm really excited to have my guest today. I've known him for a long time. He's one of my mentors in the game. So I'm really excited to talk to him and like record his story and chit chat about this long art road he has traveled. He's multi-talented artist, from visual art to music, also video, and then something of a philanthropist, starting the New York Open Mic podcast where he talked about everybody else's open mics, which was kind of dope. So we're going to talk to him today. It's also his birthday, so hey, shout out to your life. Mr. Broke MC's in the building. Hey!
What's up? How you doing, Joy?
I don't have all the fancy accoutrement. Like, I'm going to get some audience noises.
You need an air horn. You know?
How you doing?
I'm all right. Back in Brooklyn, I've been spent some time in PA, and I came back to Brooklyn today, and some packages were stolen from the lobby of my building, which is kind of some BS that I'm dealing with right now. But we got cameras, so I'm gonna get my gumshoe on, and
the good part of Brooklyn. I still live in the
I whatever. I had bad packages stolen when I lived in Bushwick too, so people steal packages wherever you be.
I know. I'm happy no one steals my packages, but then again, no one sends me anything, so it's all good. Like, it's a good balance. I mean, nobody wants to steal.
I'll send you something. I'll send you a little care package.
Hey, I love presents. I love packages.
I got some packages from you for my holidays, so I gotta. I remember I bought from your store. I got a ring for my little sister, and I got some earrings for my lady.
Sweet. Did it fit? Did they like it?
The ring's a little big, so okay. I don't know if you do resizing or anything like that.
I can resize it. That's not.
She's got little 16-year-old fingers, so you sent me that. You sent the big one. Maybe you thought I was gonna rock it. I'm sure it would fit me. But
my jewelry's for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, these days, I don't know who's what. I just let it rock. Like, I don't know. That's it.
Hey.
So, Broke MC, I know you from many, many different fields, but just for our audience who might not necessarily be familiar with your work, can you just give us a brief overview of who is Broke MC?
I hate doing that. I hate characterizing myself. I'm an artist, I came to New York in an indie band, and whilst doing that, I started hitting the open mic scene, doing a lot of hip hop, and I was living up in Spanish Harlem at the time, moved out to Brooklyn, got into an art space called Asterisk Art Project, and for like 5 years, we were kind of a hub in Bushwick that we had like a front room with a stage and like walls for art. And, I linked with a bunch of heads through ciphers, cats like Bisque One and Undercover and Domer and like the Mind Spray heads. And we started throwing parties at Asterisk with like graffiti on the walls and, every type of music, and just sort of like creating a home in Bushwick where we could like support ourselves and have a little scene, And I did that for a while. Then I started doing some acting stuff, did some theater and TV stuff, and these days I'm doing a lot more writing. I had a play in the Fringe Festival a couple of years back, and I got some film scripts that I'm working on, and a novel, and right now Joy and I were just talking, for those of y'all tuning in, and we were talking about how there's like not much new stuff available like on YouTube for me, but this year has, I'm sure given a lot of us artists time to dig in and get into our art. And I got 3 new projects. I got one that's completely done. with my friend Sirens. She does a bunch of like vocal loop stuff, and we've collaborated on tracks here and there. And we got a whole album that we're putting out together. It's mixed and mastered and ready to drop. And then DJ Halo and I have an EP that we're ready to drop. And then I'm doing a follow up to an album called Broken Phono that I did with this producer Phono, Billy Phono, from the UK, and we're putting the finishing touches on that right now too. So new stuff coming.
Dope. So multi-genre artist. I met you when you were in Death Row Toe.
That was a great chapter.
That was that y'all were like one of the livest bands on the scene for a long time.
I appreciate that.
Touring band at that. Like what was that experience, that whole thing? Because are y'all still, what is up with y'all? First of all, what's up with y'all? And secondly, how did that whole, because it seems like that y'all are just individuals, like it's really hard for me to find the words I want to speak, but it's kind of like, you know how you could be a whole unit, but like each ensemble, that's the word I'm looking for, like a really great ensemble of musicians, even when you like had to make some changes, like it still worked. So I wanted to know, like, how did y'all cultivate that? Like, how did that whole thing even come to be and like just work out so harmoniously?
Inexplicable, serendipitous Brooklyn, you know? At the time, which was over 10 years ago, I was feeling old, and and like I'll always do music, but like I've been like sort of dancing around, like having any sort of success with it, and I'm like, all right, I got an idea for a project. I hit up my boy Dialect, who and I sort of like played him some beats, and I'm like, look, I want to do something that's like upbeat, danceable indie rock with some real MC shit on it. And he was on board, and he's like, yo, I got this friend Isan, she's gonna come in. Let's like let's get her on this. And I'm like, bet, let's do it. And it started off just with like electric can beats and the three of us like rapping and singing and doing the thing. And then he was living at the Opera House, and there were some musicians there who were like looking for new projects to get down on. That's how we got like Evan Berg and Brian Church in there, who's in a band called the Bottom Dollars these days. And then we brought in the other members. It's just like, it's one of those things where it started with the three of us, and then it just sort of like we started pulling in the right people. And I've never been in a project like that. Like now looking back on it, I am so grateful for the nights that I got to share the stage with those musicians, because we didn't write set lists, like we knew our songs, and we would just listen to each other and vibe, and it all just moved. And I've never been in anything like that. And I don't know what the future of it is. Like, we're all back in Brooklyn now, and we've had some creative differences here and there, but I feel like there's still like that joy that we encountered on stage that people responded to. It was also the first project I've ever been in, not to shit on myself, but the first project I was ever in that like more people would always be in the room at the end of the show than at the beginning. And that was the clue that we had too. Yeah.
Especially like New York is this place, because that was one of my pet peeves about the scene in general, and specifically when it came to specific scenes, but also in general of the music scene itself, is that like you could go to an event and it could be packed when you get there, but like as a band will perform or as somebody will perform, like the crowd usually gets thinner and thinner and thinner. And then if you're the last act, if you didn't bring 20 people with you, you might be stuck with like the 5 people that work there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or like folks like me who just love music. And I'm like, I just want to hear all the bands. Like, everything was great so far. Like, you know what I mean? And y'all were really that band that could get people to stop leaving. And so I love that about you.
Yeah. We were very lucky to have found each other in that incarnation, and I do hope that at some point we can be rocking like that again,
Word. Me too. Shout out to Isan.
Oh, Isan, yeah.
halfway to teenagers now. That's what's up. Like
Heck yeah.
everybody seems like everybody's having babies too. Are you affected by this pandemic baby fever that seems to be going around? Are you guys are you finding like
Well, we haven't been infected yet, if that's the word you want to use. But I mean, like you could get to a certain age and suddenly the idea of having a supporter who will always be there, plus a collaborator, like that sounds pretty good. Maybe at some point in my life, I felt a little more selfish about my time. Um, and these days I don't anymore, so. I was just talking to Mina's little sister. Mina's my partner.
Hey Mina, yeah, shout out to Mina too.
Sure.
I'm not gonna talk about Mina, but I'm gonna ask about it because again, y'all like, one of the things I really admire about about you, but also about a lot of people in the community that took me in is that y'all are like a lot of y'all have like these long-standing, strong ass loving, healthy, equitable partnerships that is totally relationship goals. You know what I mean? To my knowledge, you've been with me as long as I've known you, and I've known you going on a decade now. And that's incredible. Like, you know what I mean? That's some Stedman and Oprah shit. Like, I love it. You know what I mean? So I've always been curious, and this is something I always ask people that are in strong relationships. How do y'all cultivate this balance that y'all seem to have where like it's supportive and it's loving and y'all are both whole people in this relationship? It's not like you complete each other, you just like you complement each other, and that is something I personally I find that to be a hard thing as a creative, to stay in a relationship that's healthy in the first place, but then to be in a relationship where I'm wholly represented, right? I'm not like, it's not like, oh, I'm getting nagged. Like I broke up with somebody because they got mad. I went to like, well, they really broke up with me, but like I went to the studio one night because they fell asleep on me, right? They came over to have a date and fell asleep on me. And so my producer called and I'm like, yeah, I'm there. I'm coming. And they wouldn't wake
That sounds
up.
reasonable
So,
to me.
you know what I mean? I had stuff to do. And so it's like, to me, I get into relationships and people always swear I know what I'm signing up for. I respect your talent. I respect this. But like when it comes down to it and my time or my attention goes to that instead of them, it's not a relationship that seems to last. So I'm always curious how that works for you. Cause it doesn't seem like something you're forcing to work. You know what I mean? It just does work. I need to know how.
Nah, honestly, I don't think there's a magic key like that. Uh, it is the most rewarding relationship I've been in. It's also been the most work. Like a real relationship takes work, and especially being an artist, it takes a lot of compromise. Like being an artist, you're very used to putting your art first. But what's funny? Like once you start that compromising, you learn that your art's always going to come first anyway. Like it's always moving, and your art is informed by your ability to maintain a relationship, and I've learned to be more honest with myself from this, like it's very easy to have ideas about yourself when you're rolling dolo, but if you got a mirror right there who loves you, like
Right.
if you got a mirror there every day to be like, look, I love you, I support you, but maybe you should think a little more about this, like what, and that check is super fly, like I am so grateful to Mina for everything that I've learned from being with her about myself, and that's all come that like, we fought and it's almost ended numerous times, and but learning to communicate in a relationship informs your ability to communicate through your art. And I think I have more honest art now from the work I've done in this relationship. So, like there's artists out there who will be single their whole lives and like they're super confident about their vision, but I feel like that's also a different type of art, and it doesn't necessarily have the like conversational aspect of artists who know how to listen.
Mm.
Mhm. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. Can you elaborate on what you mean by artists that know how to listen? Because that is something. That's a whole different. That's a whole word right there. Like when
Right.
you say artists that know how to listen, what do you mean by that? Or could you just expand on that?
Well, maybe this is sort of a thing from being multidisciplinary, you know? Like I can sit in front of a blank canvas and I can fill it up.
Mm,
And I can sit in front of a blank page and flesh out a story. Um, but when you make music, if you're in a band, if you ain't listening, you you're losing your place, you know?
right.
Like
You might not know where you're at. You might get lost.
yeah, music is a language, and you know, if you are very fluent at it, then you can jam with anybody else who's fluent at it. And by listening to each other, you find the magic. And acting too is like that. Acting is awareness, being in the room, being present, and being honest. You know, like if you are completely like solipsistic, if you are focused on your own vision and your own performance without acknowledging the other people in the room, um, then chances are your performance isn't going to work either. And at least for me,
Mhm.
like the music that I've made, when I've actually like my first couple albums are like super in my head. You listen to them and they're, you know, they're fun and there's like some like fun language, but who am I talking to? I don't even know. You know, like it's a journal for me. I can go listen to it and remember where I was and you know, it says that to me, but I didn't really start getting fans who like reached out to me until I did Seeing Things. And every beat on that album, I sat down and I thought about what that song was going to be about. And I thought about the people I was talking to and what I needed to say to them.
Mm,
And thinking about that is part of listening, you know? I think that's like just like being aware that how you are affects people. And if you're an artist, that's an intentionality. And if you
mhm.
don't take that intentionality seriously, then what are you doing? You know,
Right.
I
Right.
don't know. I don't know. You know, it's someone I don't know. Tell me if you agree or you disagree because
Yeah,
maybe I'm just
I
saying words.
completely agree. You know, one of the things I've been saying all year is that in awareness, consciousness, and intention, like those three things are super important moving forward in the world. You know, and we can look around us, we could look at history, we could look at the news right now and see how important those things are in in a harmonious world, right? And creating a society where we all know that, not just feel like, but we know we're valued, right? We're not placated with these promises that don't really help anybody but like that many people on earth right now, you know. Like I was looking at the stimulus bill, somebody was like, oh, they're gonna Trump, you know, there's a whole big thing now because
Sure.
Trump finally signed the stimulus bill, which is a bullshit bill to begin with. But in that bill, there's like aid to foreign countries. More aid is going to foreign countries than coming to this own, like to the people of this country. And it just makes me think like, well, what is, you know, when you look at people who make such a big deal about how much we're a part of the system, how important it was for us to vote and change things. And you know, I look over the Congress or I look over the Senate and I see senators that are still getting voted in that like are obviously intentionally working against the greater good, right?
Mm.
Or working unconsciously to undermine the what's best for society. So it's like, what are we really doing here? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This, you know, intention is a very important aspect of anything. Also, I find that with my own work, when I approach something with intention, it hits different and it with the audience, and also like with myself, the impact of what I create is deeper. I think when I do things with the intention of my audience in mind, or just with other people than me in mind, you know, I for a long time I realized like sometimes we operate as artists, it's very easy to get wrapped up in the selfish aspect of art, you know, because
Sure.
it's already an audacious thing to believe that something that you create out of thin air is going to be valuable. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
right. That's already like, who are you? Who do you think you are?
But
Right.
that's the difference, though. It ain't out of thin air if there's intention, right?
Right. But it's not out of thin air if there's
That's
intention
work.
to do it. Well, maybe they are. So Elisa says that people are too stressed to understand intention. I don't agree with that. I think that we allow ourselves to be stressed and not see the intention or believe that there's no intention there because so many other things in our lives are unintentional. You know, the people don't mean to do this or mean to do that, but that's because they're not doing. I've never been a person that's ever said, "Oh, I didn't mean for that to happen." Right? If I say that, then I truly did not mean for that to happen because I like spend a lot of time thinking. Probably spend too much time thinking, but I do think a lot. I think about what I say. I think about what I'm going to put out into the world. I think about how it's going to be received, and I put things out intentionally, even my social media, which has gotten a lot of criticism over the years for how honest I am or how transparent I am. I feel like the intention for me in all of my art is to be as honest as possible for my whole self and to be recognized and respected. And I feel like if we would respect whole people, like everybody cares about babies when they're in your stomach. You know what I'm saying? And then once they're in the world, what then? Everybody cares about the child in someone's stomach, but no one cares about the person's life being affected when you force them to have a baby. You know what I'm saying? That's why things like that, like, I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with that. I don't know most things, but I do know that I think too much.
I don't think you think too much, and I think it's all part of the conversation too,
Word,
Um, I
word.
I was trying to unpack what Elisa was saying a little bit. Just in my mind, I wish I could have more of a conversation with her because I don't know what it means to be too stressed to understand intention, you know?
Mhm.
Like, intention, I feel like, at least, like, in regards to creating art, you know, you can just, like, throw stuff at a canvas, like, throw paint at it, and maybe it comes out, like, pretty or rather whatever, but that's decoration, But then maybe you channel emotion into it or you're thinking about something and, like, you're driven by your reactions to the world. I feel like what you were saying, Joy, is that when you're honest, at least that's what resonates with people, If you put that vulnerability out there, if you take those chances, those risks to say what you think and maybe be caught out being wrong or whatever. Like, at least you're doing it. Like, there's so many human beings out there who don't speak truth, who don't speak
Mhm.
because they're afraid of being wrong. And this is like that part of the conversation right now with white people, Like, white people are afraid to have conversations about race because they're afraid to say, and I am being general right now, but there are a lot of white people out there who don't want to have conversations about race because they
Mhm.
don't want to say something wrong and then maybe have a finger pointed at them that says what you said is racist. And we need to unpack
Mhm.
why you said that, where you think that came from, and why you think that's okay. But you know what? Like, we don't learn and get bigger until we say some dumb shit and somebody calls us on it. And,
Right.
I've been very blessed to have a lot of people of color friends call me on my bullshit, and I'm an evolved person because of that, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have, you know, gotten past those hurdles that I have a lot of other white friends, white family members who aren't getting past because they're afraid to have that honest conversation and get critical feedback about things that they believe to be true.
And that's a hard conversation. I've luckily avoided those conversations this year. This was the last, like, 2019 was the last year I had any of those conversations. It was
Mm,
just like, I don't, and I appreciate it. I want to say that I, for one, do appreciate you. I remember once I was having a conversation, I was talking to somebody, and I think I was dating a white guy at the time. And they were like, somebody had said to me, I was coming, as a matter of fact, it was during Fringe. I was coming over to see your play.
oh shit.
And I forget who it was. Somebody was like, oh, but he's white. And I was like, no, that's my friend who happens to be white. Like, he's not a white guy. I'm dating a white guy. That's a whole other story. And like that whole conversation became like, what? I'm saying this because like I appreciate those differences, right? Like there are people I still know now. And like I have friends that are trying. they really are trying to make that progress, and I can see how hard it is for them. But like the decision this year became, I can no longer hold their feelings above my own, right? Because it like after a while it becomes like, well, when are white people going to talk to other white people about this shit? Because this isn't our problem. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? We started, we didn't benefit from it. We don't get nothing from it. Like, I don't understand how we're supposed to solve this shit. And you know, my poetry, like a lot of my poetry for years was like angry black woman shit, and I would do it all over Bushwick, and motherfuckers loved it. Especially white folks, and especially like well-meaning white folks, right? And so, like, a conversation I used to have for years after I would perform was, so, you know, I just want to know how I can be better. And I'm like, I don't, there's a library. Like, go to the library, read some books. You know what I'm saying? So, like, this year, 2020 just became the year of like, I'm not entertaining any of your bullshit. If you don't know by now, or like you don't know how to have these conversations, or you can't handle the extreme discomfort, because it's not comfortable for me to have these conversations either. You know,
It ain't got to be your job. It shouldn't be
we
your
never
job.
have to have any of these conversations. Like, you're already in the like, you've already had conversations on your own. Like, to me, you are like up on a pedestal. You're like you're one of the people like keep up on a pedestal. Like, this is how you be a good accomplice. Because allyship is bullshit. Like, I need accomplice. We ain't both go to jail. Like, if we ain't both getting looked at for a crime that I didn't commit, like, I don't want to hear about it.
That's it. That's real.
I want to ask you, like, what has been the hardest part of this for you? Like, or like the hardest part of being, because you're deep into hip hop and you're like a real hip hop head. You're not like, and I can imagine you've been around for a while. You were an MC before I was an MC. So I can only imagine what you might have worked through or worked up in that time. Because I know when I came out in the scene, like, I did at one time carry an antiquated idea of what hip hop should look like, should sound like. So like, when I first started coming out the ciphers and I would see white guys start rapping, I'd be like, this nigga rap. And then they would like rap their faces off. I'm like, fuck, Eddie's dope. And they're dope. Like, I got to give you props for that. So I want to know, like, what is the hardest part of maybe the music or the art been for you, especially being this person that's of an evolved mindset, that's doing the work out here and trying to make the world a more equitable place?
Wow. What's the hardest
There's no
part?
right or wrong answer. Like, you answer what you want.
Yeah. I'm just gonna answer. I'm just gonna start where I can. The New York hip hop scene is it's like for me it's the greatest thing I've ever encountered. Like I came to the city and I had like a bare bones idea of what hip hop was. I had no idea what hip hop was. I'd heard some conscious rap and shit, and I went out and like the ciphers by and large were just really welcoming places. And what hip hop ciphers out in New York did that I saw was they valued authenticity over anything else. You didn't even have to be really technically dope as long as you didn't get caught talking about some shit that you weren't about. And I made my best friends. I made my family, like through that, like just, I've had my I'm not going to say that I never tried to front on anything, but by and large, I'm pretty comfortable with like who I am and where I came from. And
I mean, I don't think you're a habitual. You were never like a habitual line stepper. Like, I don't think you ever like went into those things.
I had a night where I was hanging out with Undercover, and this was like the first year I knew him. It was a long time ago. And Undercover is one of my favorite freestylers. He has this natural ability to like have a conversation with the flyest rhymes and speak to everything that's actually going on. And he's not like planning and plotting where it's gonna go. He just like flows the moment, and
he finds that pocket and just.
So I was living in McKibben. It was my second year in New York City, and McKibben at that time, I don't know what it's like these days, but it was all like indie artists, underground artists, like um DJ Ray Dawn lived across the hall from me, and like, it's just like a lot of creative energy going on. And I met this MC from Belgium. And this dude was like college educated, preppy, but every time he rapped, all he would rap about was his guns and his like just like clearly some bullshit.
Yeah, like that's not your life, bro.
Oh, somehow me and him and Undercover ended up on on the rooftop during sunrise, and he and Cover got into a battle where he kept talking about his guns and how gutter he was, even though he spoke like he was like educated at a French college and like was sort of vacationing in Bushwick. And Undercover in all his rhymes was like, why are you even talking about that, bro? You're not about that. Like his whole flow is just like, why don't you talk about what you know? Why don't you be who you are? Sort of thing. While the sun was rising over Brooklyn, and like that was like a pivotal moment that just like cemented the hip hop that I wanted to be a part of,
Mm.
So I don't know what the hardest thing for me is. It's not a race for me. I'm not trying to conquer anything. I'm definitely not trying to take anything or own anything. Like for me, it's about building. It's about collaborating. So I don't see like it's not. I don't know. Like that part isn't difficult because I've been very lucky to have met a bunch of honest artists who I've been lucky and blessed enough to have them like welcome me into their ciphers, and I'm not worried about hardship. I'll take the hardship because I have so many blessings to like equip myself with, that are outside of me.
Is this where you always saw yourself? Like, is this like when you were, little broke? Did little broke say, I'm gonna grow up to be this multi-talented artist? Like, this is what I want to do with my life? Or like, how did you discover that this was your lane? Like that art was your lane and not like, I don't know, astrophysics or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty into astrophysics too.
It's funny because through art, I have met more highly educated people in the art scenes. Like I know a literal rocket scientist who does burlesque because she was overqualified for literally every job that she applied for.
Wow.
And burlesque was the only way she could make money. And she's just stuck with that ever since. Got PhD in astrophysics.
Wow.
Not use it. Like it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So why art? Like is this where you thought you would be, or is this just like something that came about that you were just like, I'm gonna keep going with it?
Yeah. I think part of my privilege was that I was allowed for a long time to not really think too hard about where I was going to end up, and in high school I was very into words. I was very into poetry. And that evolved towards rhythm, and then hip hop came out of that for me, and it was just sort of a natural thing. I've always been a little like, even in third grade, I had this friend that I was like, who he was coming over to my house, and he's like, "Don't tell anybody because you're the weirdo," and I was like, "Okay." Yeah, like that's a memory in my mind. So I've always been like a little aloof and on my own shit, and so however it ended up, like it brought me here, and I've always been doing a lot of things, and I didn't think that I never thought, oh, I'm gonna go to New York so I can do my thing. Like I was in a band and I graduated, and the band was like, we're gonna move to New York, and I'm like, shit, I'm waiting tables in Florida. Let's go, and I think I've just like, I'm always very open and I'm very down, like I want other people. I want other people to get the best thing that they can, and if I can be there to like help that or like witness it and be a part of it and be along for the ride, like that's gotten me where I am.
How have you navigated this pandemic? How's this affected your creativity?
Um, well, I'm a Capricorn, so
Hey.
when the going gets tough, I just double down. I mean, like I said, I got 3 albums ready to come out. I got a new screenplay that's half done. Um, I did some new paintings. You know, like
Yeah,
I just.
all the new stencils, the Uhura.
Oh, you like that, right?
I love that shit.
Hold
I
on.
love that shit. I love the Uhura kiss. It's gorgeous. Guys, you have to see this. I want to ask, so how did you get into visual art? Was this something you also always practiced, or like did it evolve with the music, or
I always did it. Ever since a kid, I was always covering paper with colors and like I guess I'm one of those people who was lucky to have sort of like an ability early on to create lifelike things on paper. I didn't really have any formal training. I went to a hippie school in college in Florida, and it had a couple art classes, and I took them. But like, I never thought like my parents are bureaucrats, so the idea of being an
mm,
artist was never a thing that was
yeah,
put before
yeah,
me. They're like, get your bachelor's degree and then get a job,
yeah. Same
and
here,
you
same
know,
here. I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandfather was a civil lawyer, and my grandmother was a teacher.
hmm,
Was a retired teacher. And so they heavily, heavily, heavily stressed education. I was always told, even by my mom, like I remember being a kid and my mom, who was a singer her whole life, right? After she went in the Air Force, she sang. She sang all around the world, gold records in the whole nine. Even she was like, that's not a real job. You
oh
need to get a real
wow,
job. And I'm like, what do you mean? All I want to do is this. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely tried to do everything else, but this, I went to school, made myself super broke, getting a business, a bachelor's in business that I ended up not using and, spending years in retail and then still finding my way to be an artist anyway.
hmm.
Luckily around 30, my mom was like, I understand. I get it. And,
Thank you, mom.
thanks. It only took half my life. That's great. Thanks. Just saying. How did your parents react to your chosen path? Like, did they own?
Yo, I got an older brother and sister, and they both work in the State Department. They're both bureaucrats. I'm the
Oh
black sheep, like yeah, I just followed my own path. But they're both very supportive, like I've never gone to them with my hand out. So I feel like they've never really had been able to like levy any sort of criticism, like as
wow.
long as I can take care of my own, then I can do what I want to do. And that's that, but seriously, like my mom, she's come up to see the plays that I've written, and you know my dad has always told me, well, ever since college, he just keeps telling me that I need to be a painter, and I'm like, oh, well, that's easy to do now, so
That's
I'll just be a painter. But like they're very encouraging with the creative stuff, so I'm thankful for that, and being that I'm getting a little older, they get a little concerned, and they're like, but like, what are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do now? It's like,
just no pension.
hmm, something's breaking up right now. Time out. I'm not reading you. I don't know if it's me. Maybe it's me. I heard a clap. I can you sound like a robot ghost right now, and it's super fly, but I have no idea what you're saying. Wait, wait, you're coming back. Should I refresh my page? I'm gonna refresh my page. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
For some now,
my back? Hey, am I back? So, I guess maybe it's just me right now. What's up, folks? Um, you gotta love the internet, right? I guess while we're waiting for Joy, I will say I really appreciate Joy having me on. Um, you can check out all things Broke MC at brokemc.com. How about an acapella or something, right? Yeah, yeah. Spit an acapella, Broke. You're a rapper. People are watching. This ain't no candy land. Ain't nobody stacking gingerbread to the bitter end. Bite as a fight over Twitter trends. Drink to my liver mans. There's no deliverance. Phantoms whisper secrets from the wilderness, and we listen in. Dancing to the rhythm of the resistance. Standing at the business end. Flows right past us, we could never catch the whole place. The ground, no one knew that. The ground. The nights are even stranger. Fighting coach, I wanna meet my maker. Milk quiet.
and cannabis. Vandals on the sidelines. Aspen static by the lights of the actors. Masterless palace. So when the fit finally faded, she had vanished. Flows right past us, we could never catch her. There was danger, the whole place was around. Knew that we were after such disaster. Touched the ground, we were laughing as the town flows right past us. We could never catch her. Toes never touched the ground. There was danger, the whole place was spinning. In the dark room cocoon, my heart booms awesomely. And outside the window, the stars and moon are yawning. I'm stark, raving mad about the lack of apology. The cracks in the sidewalk and this act of odd novelty. It's just another scene, a clever mockery. Sent from another planet to collect our fallen dreams. With this, we don't ever have to sleep. My teeth, we'll show them my teeth, we'll show them, we'll show them my teeth, we'll show them my teeth, we'll show them, we'll show them my teeth, we'll show them, we'll show them my teeth, we'll show them my teeth, we'll show them, we'll show them my teeth, we'll show them, we'll show them my teeth, we'll show them my teeth, we'll show 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 we'll show my teeth.
What a cute little buffalo that was.
Such a cute little buffalo. I love it. I love that whole Rudyard Kipling feel of it, of the animation. Did you do the animation for that?
No, I artfully stole it. You know, like when you got to cobble together a video real quick and you're not sure if anybody's even going to look at it, you got to just take what you got, you know, like.
That's pretty dope, though. I feel like it had real like potential for like a children's audiobook.
Okay. Yeah, it's a really old song. For those who are privy to the private chat, I was telling Joy that I had a hard drive that I've been sitting on for like 10 years that had all these songs and like all the files and stuff on it that I just lost. And that was one of these lost songs that I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. I'll give it to the people. But it's like, yeah, it's pretty rough. Pretty rough. Speaks to a day gone by.
Hey, hey, but it like it shows like you're still trying to find different ways to innovate. And I think that right now, like that's really the artist's job. You know what I mean? The artist's job is always how to innovate. I think that's a part of the deal that we sign up for is out of nothing, out of no
Right.
way. So it's really awesome to see how you still are using stuff that like, and again, it might not be new to you, but it's new to us.
Word.
Like, you know, I'm famous for that. I have so much stuff matter of fact, I did earlier this year, I was working with the Museum of Dead Words and I did a installation for Miscegenation.
I saw it. It was
And
so
so
dope.
afterwards, like all this drama happened. Thank you. All this drama happened. And then I got more space in my house. And I started to unpack paintings that I had worked on. I had started working on like 5 years ago. Like with it, like 3 to 5 years, all of these paintings. I haven't touched most of them for like a year, right? Because I was like, I can't find a way forward. I'm just gonna walk away from it. It's done for now. And in doing that project and then getting all of this space, I started to see how to link them together. And so now it's a new thing. Now, even though these are all paintings that most people have never seen, I've made them into a new, like massive, like connective painting, like with all these it's almost like a triptych, but it's like 15 paintings I put together.
You were posting some on your Instagram with the white overlay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fly.
Now, you know, in case anybody wants to become a patron, help me finish that because that would be great. Paint costs money.
Yeah, I always, an artistic mantra that I've sort of stuck to over the years is like never give up on a painting, and I feel like that
oh no,
that transfers to anything. Again. You know, I'm not frozen.
Okay.
Never give up on a painting because you never, if you keep working on it, it's gonna get there. You know, your song is gonna get there. Like if you give up on it and toss it away, you are missing an opportunity. You know.
Yeah,
that's always
one of the things I actually learned from you, from jamming with you a while, is to be okay walking away from something, like to not force it. You know. I remember I would torture myself over my paintings, and I kind of still do. Like I look at paintings, like I try not to look at them with disdain. Like, how dare you not be finished? How dare you stress me so much? But like most of the time, like when I feel that there's a stopping point, or like I can't see the next line, I can't see where this thing goes, I'll just be like, I'm now okay being like, you know what? I'm done for now. It's done for now. And if somebody likes it, I'll totally tell it to them like that. But I'll let them know, like, in my mind, it's not finished. Like, it's not great. You know, unless somebody's like, nah, just like that is how it belongs. I'll be like, nah, bro, it's not done. Like, I don't like. Are you an artist? Are you that type of artist that doesn't like your work? Do you ever like your work?
You know, the thing is I'm always surprised by what people like as opposed to what I like. You know, my favorite painting is not always other people's favorite painting of mine. You know, and my favorite song that I wrote from an album isn't going to be everybody else's favorite song. So, you know, I feel like that's just that sort of humility. You got to just like, don't be afraid to put out the things that you think are junk, because sometimes there's something subconscious in you that's speaking in there that maybe is bothering you, but will actually like help somebody else out. You know,
I find my music and like my music and my poetry is like that. Like I can put out poems that I don't like necessarily, because usually I don't like something because it's so honest that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like I more don't like the judgment I think I'm gonna receive over it, or the honesty, the way how raw that honesty is, like it might still hit something in me. It might still trigger something in me when I read it. So like there's, my music is like that. I kind of black out on, like, every time I go to the studio, I just kind of black out and go, and then go back and edit the song down, and I'll just learn the verses. Like I'll pick apart the things I like, learn that, and then re-record it like that. So it's smoother. But with my art, I find like I just half the time I don't like it. And I think half the time I don't like it. And then half the time I do like it, but I think I only I only like it because I'm the only one that sees it. Like I'm the only one that understands it. I don't know. I'm very
Art is super weird like that. I lost your audio right now, but I'm gonna keep.
Oh, that's fine. That's great.
But we're back. We're back.
Yeah, we're back. It's gonna do that. I have Optimum in Brooklyn. It's Altice. But they lately, with the snow and the rain, they just don't know how to act in the snow or the rain. So.
Right. Yeah. Normally mine's pretty suspect, but
yeah.
Yeah. That's I completely feel you about the art thing. It's like, especially, like I do a lot of stencil stuff, but the brush stuff that I do, that's always the stuff that I'm more like, I don't know. I don't know if that's the one that I want to give to the world, but
How do you push past this stuff? Like what methods do you have? Do you have any like special Jedi, art tricks to like push yourself past these walls? But I feel like we kind of put up the walls ourselves. Like no one is putting this wall up but us.
Yeah. It's just kind of what we were saying. It's like, I feel like you can walk away from something, but don't throw it away. Leave it there to go back. Take your story, put it in the drawer, come back to it in a year if you need to. Take your painting, turn it around, put it in the closet, go work on something else. I mean, I think we're lucky, you and I, because we have our visual outlets, and then we have our audio outlets, and then we have our writing outlets. So for me, like, I'll finish an album, and then I'll do a series of paintings, and then I'll try to write a story of some sort, or do some sort of writing project for a while. And then that keeps me refreshed when it comes to, the creative outlet that I'm getting ready to jump into next. So.
Okay. What do you think is the biggest risk that you've taken, and what was the reward from it? Like, why was it worth it?
That's a tough one. What is the greatest risk that I've taken? You might have to sit in silence with me for a second.
It's okay. I like silence.
As I ponder my belly button.
That's right. I've learned such a value of silence this year that, like, I'm totally okay with it. Future partners inquiring to be romantic with me must know how to sit in silence. They have to learn how to be okay. Like, we have to be okay being sober together, and we have to be okay being silent together.
I like that.
Two of my requirements now in life. Yeah, you get older and you realize it's not as much fun if you don't like me when I'm sober, or I don't like you when I'm sober. It's just,
it might not work out. Just in like pursuing the things that we want, pursuing our dreams, like, like going after art was never, like, at least in its early stages, didn't feel like a risk for me, because I always had like my day job, like I always had something, my money job that was like taking care of me. And as far as artistic risks, there was just a shift where I stopped like codifying my language, and I
Mm.
started like just letting like speak into more of my actual experience in more clear ways. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm not that's not an easy question for me to address, and I think it probably has a lot to do with my own fears of being vulnerable. So that's all I'm gonna give you on that one. I'm
All right,
sorry.
no, that's all good. Like there's no, this is, it's all good. We're a small budget show. We will take whatever answer you give us. You know what I mean? Because like really, and that's the thing too. I really like the phrase that what you were just saying about codifying your language of
Mm.
like, kind of sugarcoating it. I find that these days that now that like, because I like you have always had wastes guaranteed money, right? So I could take all these free shows, or I could show up at an event and somebody because I have a job. Like I do this for the love of it. But now I'm at this place where like my art is literally all I
That's a risk. That's a risk that I think a lot of people are very reluctant to take, and I admire the bravery of that. And so, as we wait for Joy's internet to reset itself, we'll take another brief interlude with the Broke MC. It's very nice to have
Yep.
you all with us tonight.
Nope, still here.
Oh, darn! I was taking over. I was about to be the clapback queen. Come on.
It's all right. You can hold it down. That's fine. I just asked questions. um, yeah, I find decoding my language to be the hardest part for me these days because I realize like it's not even like not even decoding, but coding my language anymore is the
Mm,
hardest part for me these days because I no longer wish to filter my I no longer wish to filter my message. But I also know that there's the people with the money, like the big money, that I want to sell these bigger. I want to the people that normally patronize art because it's always been my thing to make art more accessible. I feel like there's a big part of the big divide
mm,
in society and culture has always been the inaccessibility of art. That for a long time it was a hobby or thought of as a hobby because really it was something you had to have money to do. Like people had to
right.
put money into it. You know what I mean? And so that's why I always had a steady job. I've always had a steady job. But now my whole industry is done, right? The culinary industry is a wrap. Like, like not a wrap, but for now it's on pause. And the
Sure.
few jobs that are available, like once you start making salary, you can't go back to making minimum wage. Like you can't. I'm sorry, I'm just not that
No, no, I
person.
agree. Yeah.
So trying to in setting up my website and my Patreon and even with this show to some extent, like where I try to talk to people about what I'm doing, they're like, oh, that's real radical. That's like, it's still, my language is still too black, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's still very much like, I care nothing about the white supremacist structure that exists. I care nothing about the fragility of whites of like I care nothing about those aspects of the world that have always hurt me and always ignored me and peeved me. So I find that I have to like attract people to my cause when everybody has a worthy cause or worthy talent to support. And I don't have it in me. Or maybe I do have the land, don't have it in me to exercise my intellect in that way anymore because I feel like I shouldn't have to keep watering down myself. Nobody
Yeah, because
should.
that's
We should
that's
all get to
inauthentic art. That's when you start doing that, you're no longer being truthful to yourself. And at least in my
right.
opinion, that's when the art stops losing its cultural value. Like we all as artists want to make money off of our art. Then there's nothing wrong with that. Like it's funny because for the long time I was broke MC because I'm saying like art shouldn't be about money. But at the same
Oh
time, like
no.
as an artist, we need to make money if we're going to continue to make our art. Like if you
Right.
don't buy my music, how do I know that I should keep making it aside for just for me and my friends?
Like that's
You
not
know?
his.
Like yeah.
I
But
mean,
and then like the whole industry of paintings and galleries and stuff, it's like if you go down to like Art Basel in Miami and you don't charge enough for your painting, no one's gonna look at it. Like you got to put like a $10,000 price tag on there just for cats to like be like, oh, that might be worth buying just because it's an investor culture. It's not even an appreciator culture. Like there's this it's so problematic on so many levels. Yeah, I'm really all about the organic movement of this sort of thing, where it's like you are true to yourself. You sell it to a couple, and we're in New York, so like maybe when we set up our tables in the summer and people can walk around without masks on, you never know. Some rich, influential person may walk by. It's that Basquiat thing where it's like maybe Warhol will like see your little sketches and buy 10 of them, and all of a sudden you're on. Like that's what you like sort of hope for in New York, that some rich person is going to be like, I like your shit. I'm going to buy it. And then, when they have a dinner party and Jay-Z and Beyonce are there and everybody, they're like, who did that painting? Let me get one of those. And then you're on. But at the same time, it's like you can't, as an artist, I feel like we can't aim for that. We just got to make our stuff. And if it doesn't ever take off, I mean, at least we made art that was true, you know?
I know that. See, and that's where I want to stay at. That's what I'm hoping. Like that's the energy that I have always tried to maintain in my life, especially internally, is like just always being proud of what I've created, even if it's like that saying of like if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one to hear it, doesn't make a sound. I sometimes used to look at it like if art is made and it's fabulous but no one's there to look at it, is it still art, or is it still great, or
Right.
is it still good, or is it still worth the effort of being made? Like what's it mean if no one ever sees it, that it means something to
Yeah. And the sad part is, like so
that's
many artists
the
will,
existential crisis of every day of the pandemic is an existential crisis.
right, right.
How do you avoid your existential, or how do you get over your daily existential crises?
Um, well, I just watched that movie Soul and it was amazing. And it really like, I feel like any artist who's facing their existential crisis should watch that new movie Soul, because it really speaks to that. But I feel like a while ago I just sort of I became okay with just sort of that I'm always going to be making stuff, and it's going to be for those, like I just give a lot away. Like so many dope artists that I know, they like end up with stacks of paintings, and they have these giveaway parties and they give away their paintings to their homies. And I've sort of I'm in that. Like it sucks because we spend money on materials and stuff, and like, a lot of that just ends up being something that we just call a loss. But I don't know. I feel blessed to have sold a fair amount of art, and every now and then something comes around. But I definitely like end up with stacks of paintings, and especially during the pandemic, I don't know what to do with them. But You know, for my existential, like I said, I'm a Capricorn. The whole pandemic, I just been taking classes online. I got a master class subscription, and I've been working on my craft, uh, just like trying to learn some new tricks. So when the world starts spinning for real, I can hit the ground on my toes. You still with me, Joy? Who are you texting right now?
Nah, I totally hear you. I'm listening because on my computer it's scrambly again.
Oh yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
listening to your answer on a different platform. I don't hear you
Oh.
completely. Yeah, no, the pandemic has definitely made me double down on myself. You know, Geminis are just like always with the ideas and the curiosity and the learning. So, I went back to school, and this is one of the projects that came out of studying sociology last semester, the last 2 semesters of the year. But you know, there's always a reason. There's always things happening, life happening.
There's a
Oh
lot to
my
get into
God,
these
the
days.
internet never wants me to be great. What's up with that?
It's too real, Joy. It's just too real. The internet gods will not tolerate this type of realness. But you know what?
Like
Like,
you're being too real.
man, maybe it's time that we wind this down.
I'm being too real. The internet doesn't want it.
Yeah. Catching up with me right now.
Always a reason. There's always things happening, life happening. See. Oh my God. I watched this. These kinks remind me of the show that I just finished watching on Fox called Next, and it's like about this rogue AI program that becomes so powerful. It like tricks the people that made it to be able to get into the NSA servers, so that it can then become a super intelligence and basically destroy humanity. And there's 2 things I took away from that. One, right, it's scary that could be possibly happening right now. Like, what if an AI took over everything and created this pandemic, just like on that TV show, and the AI wrote the TV show to let us know what's happening, but we all think it's a TV show and it's not real. That's one of the things I took away from it. And the other one is that in watching how the government dealt with this AI, right? And this AI at some point developed the ability to like make phone calls and talk to people, right? It learned the English language and it called the guy that created it. And he's like, if you would stop trying to destroy me, I would stop defending myself. And it just clicked in my mind how that is exactly how most, not just people, but how the government had deal with great problems, right? Instead of like finding out what's wrong or asking questions, it's just like, no, we're just gonna attack, and hope this thing goes away without even knowing what the thing wanted, what it could have done to help humanity and all this stuff. And I feel like maybe it was a metaphor for people of color. I don't know. Again, I just have all these like vast ideas that I get from TV. I want to write screenplays, so I've been watching lots of TV shows,
Hey, Joe, we
and
should
trying
wrap
to
that
make
chat
one.
at
But
some
right
point.
now, the internet don't want me to make one.
But you know what? We will build on the screenplayness in the future, because that's pretty much all I've been doing this year is work on how to be the best screenwriter that I can be. But in lieu of the internet trying to take us down, I do think maybe it's time to bid adieu to our little jam session here. And maybe we'll try it another day.
Word. Like 2 minutes to double check what you just said. But it sounded like this is the time to do what you want. Word. Like 2 minutes to double check what you just said. But hey, I'm gonna stop fighting. And from on Twitter right now, and Dionne Warwick is gonna let us cut this short and say, yo, Broke, it's been such a pleasure talking with you. I'm glad we at least got some of the the internet just turned against us. I'm very, very thankful for you.
I'm so thankful for you, Joy.
Going thing. The season ends next month, but we'll be back in the spring with a whole new season. And like I said, this especially once the format might change, maybe we'll come back for our year ender in January, where we just, you know, if it really is gonna be like the end, is this the beginning of the end, or is this the?
It's all part of the cycle.
It's all part of the cycle. What part of the cycle do you think we're in right now? I feel like
it's
I
feel like
I know it's a cycle. I'm always confused and we're at.
You know, it's the part of the cycle where we just don't stop.
Know.
We just don't stop because, you know, who knows what would happen if we stopped? Who knows? Get it.
Well, Broke, it's always a pleasure. I love the good work. Keep up doing everything you're doing. Keep not be racist and to unpack their racism. I appreciate you for that, especially because I can't do it. Like I can't. I just can't. Like on behalf. This is the only time you'll ever see me really on behalf of all Black people. We thank you for your service because we all gave up this year. We
I mean,
so I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much again. Come back anytime. And folks out there on Periscope, YouTube, if you're not following YouTube, Facebook, if y'all not following this dude, The Broke MC on Instagram, and if you go to youtube.com/Broke MC, you will find all of these wonderful videos, including these videos I'm about to show to end this program for right now. I want to thank you for our guest again. We're going to open that tab.
Check out some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did you guys show a battle? Oh, no. Oh, man. Even my video battles.
Take it out on this.
Oh, boy. Oh, that's not me. That's just the video I shot.
Oh, no, you're not on this one?
Nah, but that's all right. Osiris kills it. So does Dizzy. It's a dope battle. Let the world see this.
Oh, this is your
my YouTube channel. Yeah, I just document the dopeness, you know? So, you know, follow my YouTube channel and catch, like, you know, there's a couple of us like Warren Britt.
Oh, yeah, no, Osiris is definitely in my top 5.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you can find that on YouTube.
Y'all better stop playing.
If you want to hear my music, just go to Spotify. Look up
his thing.
Super King Armor. I can't hear what they're saying. Joe, I love you. I'm going to go work on my screenplay.
He raps so hard. I love you. Thank you.
Something that you never know. Oh, sorry, you walk on the stage and your dreads never grow. How come you got something on stage? You fuck with the funniest cookie. It's about to be suplex 6. This is what I do when I'm rapping. I rip my lips. And when you try to tell me that I'm about to go with Jimmy, you super king. You know you gotta do your thing. The city's growing. I know you gotta do your thing. I'm sorry. I know that you should do it with the days. Dreadlocks kind of turning into doodle fucking braids. I don't really know why you trying to come and just test me. Why you over here trying to come up to me and press me? I just thought we was no family, but it's absurd. The way you trying to come at me and tell me I was a bird, you was telling me that I'm about to spit on my words. All I know is that I gotta keep on quenching my thirst. Half of these rappers over here got their bubbles they burst. I'm about to go ahead and keep on giving my work. And this the same type of shit again. Rhythm word is fluid, but it's ill-spoken riddling. Now they saying dizzy, but she riddling, she riddling. Might need some riddling, and you ain't got no citizen. Unlike Martin Luther King, this is not a dream. She touched my chest, dizzy, she switched teams. Niggas don't understand, that's a big clean. I don't think you understand, I hit you with that LOC. I'm on a better mission. Guaranteed I can't take it easy on you. I'm trying to make y'all better and more clever. So I'm right out here doing my best example of feminism. I'm trying to help y'all out. I can't stop. I had to show you like this. Your flow is so crazy. And it's great. You out here eating these pussies just like a plate. And I ain't talking about the pussies you be eating. I'm talking about these rappers you be bodying so frequent. But listen, understand, my shit is different. I do this so great. Got too much roles, I had to clip them. So she can be quick. But I'm scared I can't spit it. You already know. They switch roles. I like this fucking looking fucking dizzy. You already know I got the better raps. I like your old bell better cuts, but I'm still the better catch. The girl is know you. Guaranteed I had to know you. Help the shelter. I had to come and do my thing. I mean, I'm over thing. I see my man smiling. We about to bring it in. Tag team super king. Now matter of fact, here we go. About to make change. Dizzy over here trying to be a body shame. Better get a body bag. You put you in the body frame. Put you on the cell and exhibit. Then I make a record change. See, that's what you call a business investment. Open the stage, you just might perfect it. This the super king, I get so eclectic. Niggas over here, you bitches are just protected. This is it. This is it. Check, check. Check, check. Check, check. Yo, Super King, you're on the wrong committee. I just let you move because I really like titties. Sorry, you kinda got a pickle. This is what I'm doing when I come and I'm just spitting. Matter of fact, I'm spiking. You know I'm going off the train. I'm excited when I'm moving down like suicide strike like lightning. And I'm always fighting. Half of the niggas coming at me and you know they fighting. Yo, bro, check. You saying I took all the snow checks, but you brother said sounding like a no test, spitting on misogyny and sex is all around. You can spit inside your round. I'm talking about shit that you really can't breathe. Eric Garden, all that shit you probably see. And then you get up here and talk about dildos and homos. That shit don't sound good. It sound like you wrote it. So Blake and Izzy, we about to touch down. Let me tell you how we had to get the triple crown. Walked into town and nobody made a sound. The way we had it going, she is from the boogie down. And no Cyrus, don't forget what we doing 2 and 2. We be end of the week first. We like that shit left for you. We would have been in a round time, you wouldn't got through. This ain't shit you gonna say what we were probably going through. And then you know, we really came and had a fun day. We both came in and took freestyle fun days. That's crazy. Now we going half on the baby. About to be in the town and telling you please behave. And you think you should thank me. Cause when I came in this shit, you like, Busy, oh my god, this shit about to be crazy. You're not going with it. How you fucking gonna thank me? And this is when you going on stage and gonna repay me? Jocking my style, got no shame. Sucker MCs get played. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. My DJ and your DJ be scratching at the tables. My DJ said to your DJ, yo, the way you scratch is just shameful. Talking about it now, break down, like a sucker one day. Jacking my style, got no shame. These sucker MCs get played. Alright, here's some new shit. I did program before. Woo! So bad. This is for people who spend too much time on the internet. Twisted headlines. Feel like I stayed up way past my bedtime. What's black and white? Redacted and red hot. The news, bitch. Never mind. Alabama is stronger than your Madonna. Pollinated with a fish called Wanda. I wish I was fonder of marijuana, but I'm not. A classic example of the kettle kicking the pot. The riddles in these memes got my stomach and knot. Baby blues in the dreams, gotta get lost in the plot. Angus relations to the rocks. I wish I had a plane to walk. Backflip, triple gainer. Cut out the middle ball, the player hater. Your little solid fake savior. Out of behind an avatar. Doing the face of battle for kitty pool, pissing off the sharks. These trolls got no hearts. Too many loggers, not enough trolls. Too many angels, not enough souls. Too much water, not enough gold. What you gonna do when it all gets sold? Too many bloggers, not enough trolls. Too many angels, not enough souls. Too much water, not enough gold. What you gonna do when it all gets sold? What you gonna do when it all gets sold? What you gonna do when it all gets sold? Too late, it's already been sold. I'm too cocky on the Anunnaki. You can't stop me, I'm too cocky. Talking to the paparazzi. To make the monotony, I block the ski. I've been locking with the Jabberwockies progeny. Want a monster and I'm knobbing things. I shock him in the tree, you need a lobster meat. Call it Halloween. I'm Michael Myers minus the modesty. I shop for teens and post selfies with their bodies looking for awful memes. I heard Socrates used to gossip about sophistry. Got how I boast and scream until people notice me. Broken for the dopest means to lose my dopamine when instead of us and trees because of the novelty. I was stuck by a Trump bogus tweet. So had me in lotus position, meditating on bogus creeps. Skip bars for making away with murder openly and chalk outlines drawn like loading feet. Now forget about the bullshit. It's not the same. We got the verse and some freestyle. And bro, you see, you know the carry the extra mile. Too much water, not enough gold. What you gonna do when it all gets sold? Too many bloggers, not enough troll. Too many angels, not enough soul. Too much water, not enough gold. What you gonna do when it all gets sold? What you gonna do when it all gets sold? What you gonna do when it all gets sold? Too late, it's already been sold. All right.
Yeah.
How y'all doing?
This is from an album I put out 2007 or 8. Seen things.
All right.
It's about New Yorkers and how they don't look at you, you know? Keep their heads down, they don't smile, they don't say what's up. But in hip hop, they say what's up, right? What's up?
What's up?
You make a smile. Life's too short to frown so much. Look a brother in the eyes. Ain't no need to act so tough. Don't be afraid to smile. Life's too short to frown so much. Look a brother in the eyes. Don't be afraid to act so tough. You and my people like beat freakers and heat seekers, revolutionary leaders, street sweepers and peacekeepers. Deep fingers thinking with similar piece of burden. Carrying knowledge like apple trees, carry serpentines, cherry in the fire, carry various designs. The terror in my eyes like flares up in the night sky. Finally, aware of my position in these times. Of being alive, keeping the feeling alive. Like all day, every damn day. Too much work and not enough pay. All day, every damn day. Trapped in a lot of man into this.
Yo, on the street in the sun, I'd rather be in the drum. And while the people speed on, I sleep home, go home, smoke weed and turn the TV on. But I be the type of beat that keep candy. That's the rapist, so rough sex and keep the tail locked down like stone. And cracking the keys like Sherlock with my can, I'm okay. Gotta have it up, making my mark, scratching with car keys. Trying to find a code. The team that Mark beats on heartbeat. Mark keeps and carnies, and I'm the on at the time. And I need life.
Oh, every damn day.
Trapped in a pattern of medicine, this way like trapped in a pattern of homie.
Yeah.
It's gone a little crazy because this Code 9, one of my favorite artists from my teen years, Joseph Armstrong. Time to listen about nothing and everything all at once. I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Sometimes I give myself the breeze. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid 'cause I'm alone? I went to a shrink to analyze my dreams. She said it's lack of sex that's bringing me down. I went to a whore. She said my life's a bore. So quit your whining, now you're bringing me down. Sometimes I give myself the creep on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Grasping to control, so I better hold on. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid 'cause I'm alone? Stay safe. Stay healthy. Wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. Any soap will do. It doesn't have to be antibacterial. And, don't breathe in any elevators or anything. Peace.
Her toes never touched the ground. Floats right past us, we could never catch her. Her toes never touched the ground. There was danger, the whole place was spinning round. Never touched the ground. No one knew that we were after such disaster. Never touched the ground. We were laughing as the castle crumbled down. Never touched the ground. Floats right past us, we could never catch her. Her toes never touched the ground. There was danger, the whole place was spinning.
These days are strange, the nights are even stranger. Fighting off our friends, inviting over danger. Put me in the ring, coach, I wanna meet my maker. Teach me to fight and laugh in the face of danger. All these gassed up cheese and freaks wanna be famous. I just wanna make music, be the greatest stranger who never got his face on the TV, in the paper, cereal box, milk carton, pillbox, or my ray guns where the aliens make love. I wanna take rugs to my face till the pain's numb and wake up in a safe place with the race done.
Her toes never touched the ground. Floats right past us, we could never catch her. Her toes never touched the ground. There was danger, the whole place was spinning round. Never touched the ground. No one knew that we were after such disaster. Never touched the ground. We were laughing as the castle crumbled down. Never touched the ground. Floats right past us, we could never catch her. Her toes never touched the ground. There was danger, the whole place was spinning.
I had a dream last night, I was wide awake and talking to the flies damsel in a cabin of savages. The light was lavish, candles and cannabis, vandals on the sidelines sipping absinthe absently. She said, too many hearts were trapped, wrapped up in bandages. Too many passionate souls passed up as mannequins. Passive and static, throw by the lights and theatrics. Detached from the passions that should have shattered our mechanics. And the panic that attacked me had me blinded. All balance, arrested out of my element in my asterisk palace. So when the fit finally faded, she had vanished. Escaped to whatever dimension could hold someone so sacred.
Her toes never touched the ground. Floats right past us, we could never. Her toes never touched the ground. There was danger, the whole place was spinning round. Never touched the ground. No one knew that we were after such disaster. Never touched the ground. We were laughing as the castle crumbled down. Never touched the ground. Floats right past us, we could never catch her. Her toes never touched the ground. There was danger, the whole place was spinning.
In the dark room cocoon, my heart booms awesomely. And outside the window, the stars and moon are yawning. I'm stark, raving mad about the lack of apology. The cracks in the sidewalk and the stacks of odd novelty. It's just another scene, a clever mockery. Sent from another planet to collect our fallen dreams. But there's a better way, there's a movement underneath and we'll escape. We don't ever have to sleep. We'll show them our teeth, we'll show them our teeth, we'll show them. We'll show them our teeth, we'll show them our teeth, we'll show them. We'll show them our teeth, we'll show them our teeth, we'll show them. We'll show them our teeth, we'll show them our teeth. We'll show them our teeth, we'll show them our teeth, we'll show them. We'll show them our teeth, we'll show them our teeth, we'll show them. We'll show them our teeth, we'll show them our teeth, we'll show them. We'll show them our teeth, we'll show them our teeth. We'll show them my teeth. We'll show them my teeth. We'll show them. We'll show them my teeth. We'll show them my teeth. We'll show them. We'll show them my teeth. We'll show them my teeth. We'll show them. We'll show them my teeth. We'll show them my teeth.
Thank you again to our guest today, Broke MC, for being so open and honest and vulnerable with us. I appreciate you. The world appreciates you, and I appreciate all you're doing, not just to unpack, white supremacy and patriarchy within yourself, but with the people that you engage with is an active part of your work, and it's so important. So thank you so much. Thank you to all of our viewers. Shout out to Elise, Shot Caller Kasumis. Excellent woman artist out here. She was a part of an exhibition that I put on a couple years ago called Girl and Fire at the Bishop Gallery, and you should definitely check out her work if you are not knowing that she's an artist. Now you know. Help the sister out. Check her work out. She's amazing. And as usual, I can't leave you without some type of spiritual nourishment for the day, because our spirit is important. And I have had a trying week, month, year, like all of us. And so I think it's even more important that I share this meditation with you for today, because it's kind of hitting home for me inside. So the quote is from Don Harold. And it says, "Unhappiness is not knowing what we want and killing ourselves to get it." Unhappiness is not knowing what we want and killing ourselves to get it. All right, y'all strap in, get ready. Can I continue to live in lack and limitation, denying myself the abundant goodness of the world? Or can I make a plan, follow a dream, do what I can do where I am with what I have? Can I? Can I? Can I continue to buy into the belief that there is not enough? I am not enough, settling for whatever I can get? Or can I do my best in every situation, expecting the best from every situation, recognizing that what I put out must come back to me tenfold? Can I? Can I? Can I continue to live in fear, complaining about what I do not have, cannot do, criticizing myself and others? Or can I take a chance, find opportunity, and know in my heart what I want to do is possible? Can I? Can I? Can I blame the world, hate my enemy, feel sorry for myself as an excuse not to do what I desire to do? Or can I raise my consciousness, pour love into every situation, and take responsibility for myself? Can I? Can I? Can you? So today's meditation is I am responsible. I am responsible for doing all I can. I am responsible for doing all that I can. And this is an important thing. Today this whole week, I've been contemplating purpose. What is the meaning of it? Why do we struggle so much to be in the same position? I'm 37 years old. I've been working since I was 14 years old. I've always had a job. Collectively in my life, I think I've only been employed for a week, right? COVID is the longest time I've ever been unemployed. And it wasn't my choice. So what can I do about that? I can do the things I keep doing, like this show, right? Talking to people, collecting stories, asking questions of the folks that are doing what I want to do, that are still doing what I want to do, right? They showed me how to do what I want to do. And they're still showing me how I can make it better by living their best life. I still paint. I still make music. I still make jewelry. I make books. I'm still writing books. I am still doing all that I can do. I'm still leading with my heart, with compassion, with kindness, with patience. No matter how much I'm disrespected, overlooked, talked around, talked through, talked at. No matter how much people continuously tell me they love and respect me and yet show that they don't, I still continue to do what I can do, which is to try every day. For a long period of time, people would tell me that trying doesn't matter, that you either you do or you don't. And for a little while, I believed that until this year. Until this year really, really struck home that it's not about what you do, or it's about what you do. But more than that, it's about what you try to do. And as long as you are doing all you can, and you are trying what you think will work, and you are open to the possibility that there might be another way. So if you fail, you are willing to try again. Then the trying is enough, because the trying is where you learn what works and what doesn't. It's in the attempt, right? And if you stop trying, then you stop doing, period. I only do all these things because I tried to do all these things and I was successful at them. And so I keep doing them because I believe that I will continue to be successful at them. So just be responsible for all that you can do and put the rest in the universe's hands. Your God, or whoever you believe in, whatever you believe in, right? Whatever you call God, whatever external force guides you and fills you and motivates you and allows you to still wake up every morning and breathe. Give it gratitude. And yeah, maybe it's all for nothing. Maybe it is for something. Who knows? But if you never try, you'll never find out. So just do all that you can do. Try your best every day. Give your best every day. And know that it's enough. And we all get what's ours, because nothing that is for you can go to anyone else. Okay? I love you. I thank you for watching. Please join us on Wednesday, where my guest will be the amazing Treasure Empire. I can't wait to talk to her. She's so amazing, fantastic spiritual leader, and also like high priestess, and also artist who blends her Afro-Cuban roots into everything she does. It's going to be really exciting. So come back then. January is going to be full of surprises. I'm not. January is our final month on the air. We've been doing this from January. So since July. So July to January is our whole season. That's what I've decided because I need to rest. I want to plan, and I want to give you the opportunity to catch up on all the interviews we've done this year by replaying them, and just give you that chance, like let you know, like, hey, yes, we will be back. So I advise y'all to go ahead, become a patron today. Right there at the bottom, The God is Arts. It's patreon.com/The God is Arts. You can also direct donate on Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal, but we prefer Patreon, so that way we can have a monthly income and we could do all the projects to make this real. The Juneteenth project is something that means a lot to me, and maybe I'll do a special on New Year's Eve about it. Just to give y'all a better idea of what it is you are supporting. But if you head on over to my Patreon page or even my website, www.thegodis.art, you can find out all you want to and more about me, about the projects I'm working on, and what it is I'm trying to create in the world, or at least what it is I think I'm trying to create in the world. I don't know. I might not know what I'm doing, but I know that it's keeping me moving forward. And so as long as I got breath, I'm going to keep making art because that's all I know how to do. Again, thank you for watching. Remember to be kind and patient with yourself and each other because it is still a pandemic. Please wash your hands and wear a mask when you go outside. Socially distance if you can. Oh, hey, just so y'all know, the Goddess House will be hosting Soul Rebel again, the tattoo artist. This time, it's a whole body experience. So you can get a massage and or a tattoo the week of January 13th. She will be back in New York, and we are taking appointments. The link will be up on the website, so check back there if you are interested in getting a piece done by this amazing tattoo artist. She'll be here for a couple of days in New York, and we really want to help support that. So we will be hosting her here for tattoo appointments and, house party. Hey, I love you all. Keep choosing to be yourself because everyone else is taken. Okay,